Hello, this is Dover Wilkerson here with Old School Boxing Talk. I'm going to do a change. Normally I would cover, and I will get back to it. Number 6 will probably have the recap of tonight's action, but I want to do something different. Um, I feel today in boxing, we don't educate the newbies and we don't educate the fans enough. Whether they're new fans or older fans like myself, and they're fans even older than me. But I'd like to delve into conversations that touch on the status of why things are the way they are in boxing today. Not just on the titles, we've already been over that, but maybe if I get a comment or two and ask about it, I'll go over it again. And I do welcome people. I hope there are people viewing this. And if you have questions, leave them in the comment section. I will go over them. Or you can send me an email at doverwilkerson@gmail.com, and I will get back to you. Most likely, I'll either email you back or I'll put it in the comments here, and I'll mention you by name when I do my next video. Okay, now today's thing on boxing is racism and money in boxing. Now, everybody's talking about the racism in boxing. And is there racism? There's racism in everything. I mean, we know this. In boxing, it's a little more profound because the early days of boxing, it was white on white. Irish on Irish, Italian on Italian. Each race had had their own, and maybe the Italian will fight the Irish, and then the Jewish kids. It was boxing early on, especially in this country, was neighborhood. You had the Jewish kids, and you had the Italian kids, you had the Irish kids, and you had the black kids up in Harlem, but they could only fight the other black kids. And what happened is eventually forces outside of the United States and some in the United States said, hey, those kids up in Harlem can fight. They're pretty damn good. And the promoters that had the Irish kids and the Italian kids and the Jewish kids said, well, we're not going to fight them because they're better than my guy. And I can stick here with my guy in this Italian neighborhood and make a bunch of money. The Jewish kids will stick over here in the Jewish neighborhood and make a lot of money with this guy. The Italians can make a lot of money in their area. And if we all keep our things separate and once in a while we come together, we, share the pot amongst ourselves. Let the black kids up in Harlem just, they're good, but, nobody wants to see them. Well, that wasn't so much true. See, the problem with boxing back then was you could do all this crap. You could have these divides. Certain fighters that came along actually broke the divide. Like in today's society, I go on Facebook and I watch of how Floyd Mayweather is so hated, even in the black community, amongst black boxing fans. And I'm like, well, why is this guy so hated? What has he done? I could see other people hating him, but why is the black community turned his back on Floyd? And it bugs me. Back in the day, we had guys like Jack Johnson, black community behind him, because at the time we had segregation, and of course, we support our own. Jack Johnson was us. He was ours. And he was the heavyweight champion of the world. So that made all black people feel good, because we've been so oppressed. And to have one of our own at the top of the mountain. And then after Jack Johnson, quote unquote, lost the heavyweight title, we didn't get not another black man got a shot at the heavyweight title until Joe Louis. But at this time, the white boxing establishment made sure that the people around Joe Louis control your boy. He's going to say what we want him to say. He's going to do what we want him to say. He's going, he's not going to be outspoken. He's going to be nothing like Jack Johnson. If you black people want to have a heavyweight champion, we're never going to have another Jack Johnson. The people with Joe Louis said, okay, fine. And Joe Louis, of course, being a great fighter, but Joe Louis also knew the role he played. And he became one of those first people to expand beyond just black America was watching him. But because he came up during World War II Hitler era, white America kind of then adopted Joe Louis because he was more than just a black champion. He was he was the United States champion. He was a champion of everybody that was against, the evil empire. Everybody was against Hitler and Nazism. Joe Louis was their champion. So now Joe Louis became the guy to unite, in a way, the people. And of course that went on, and then of course went back when Joe Louis retired. We went back to the status quo. Rocky Marciano, the Italians had a yay, and whatever. We went back to status quo. Then along came this kid named Cassius Clay, who was good as anything, hated by the white establishment because he was everything they did not want. And then Cassius Clay had the audacity of this guy to change his name to Muhammad Ali and say he was a black Muslim. How dare you? How dare you? We can't control you. We don't want you. Couldn't control Ali. Ali once, but the black community loved Ali, and some of the white community loved Ali. Why? Because when Ali was coming up, they saw the struggle. And now white America, this is the 60s. Now the white America is looking at, everything was changing now. The world was changing. White America's views was changing. The Vietnam War is getting, and Ali saying, Ali being, to my knowledge, now I got some older cousins, Ishmael, Michael, Larry Jr., that know more about boxing than I do. And if they're watching this, I hope you are. Guys, hit me up, tell me if I'm wrong or whatever. But to my knowledge, Muhammad Ali is the only athlete to put everything he had on the line, refused to go to Vietnam draft, refused his induction to Vietnam into service, refused it. Law, they took the heavyweight title from him. They put the man in jail for 3 years. Could you imagine any of today's athletes doing that? That's why Muhammad Ali is the greatest. It's not so much what he did in the ring, because he was great there too, but it's what he did outside the ring. Is why Ali is so enduring and why people love Ali, because he was a man of principle. And that's what we don't have in sports today. We don't have men of principle because the money's so big today. I mean, good God. Could you imagine one of today's guys, big athlete today's, like LeBron James, we had to draft LeBron James saying, I'm not going over there to fight this person because I don't believe they ain't never did nothing to me. I'm not doing it. And giving up everything and going to jail for 3 years, giving up losing his 3 years of his prime years of his craft. I mean, any top athlete today, could you imagine them at the top of their game, adding their prime, giving that up because of their principles, not just their athletic prime, but you got to realize their money, their potential, like the money they earned. My gosh. And Ali gave all that up because he's like, I'm not doing it. I don't believe in this war, and I'm just not doing it. And that was, Ali became, Ali was great. But like I said, getting back on topic of the racism in boxing, another guy that helped break this down, which is why he is so highly regarded, listen up if you're learning, is Roberto Duran. And here is why. In the early days, just like in white America, Latino America had fighters that, if you're from Mexico, the Mexican rooted for you. If you're Puerto Rican, Puerto Rican rooted for you. Venezuela, whatever. When Roberto Duran came along, it was no longer about this kid from Panama. It was about this kid that was one of us. Whether you were Puerto Rican, Mexican, Venezuelan, Dominican, it did not matter. Panama, everybody of Latino-speaking community would sit there and chant, Duran, Duran, Duran. That might be the only English they knew, but they cheered Roberto Duran because Duran was one of theirs. And he was fierce. And I mean, Duran, in my opinion, and a lot of people say the greatest lightweight champion ever. Ever. Because that Duran at 135 was a beast. He was a killer. It didn't matter. Duran didn't get soft until after he beat Leonard the first time. He beat Leonard. And then, the success got to him. But at 135, a young, hungry Roberto Duran, wow, that guy was just something. And that guy united the Latino community, and he started showing these promoters that, hey, you know, the Latino community will come out in force to back one of their own. Now, the difference between Duran, people say, what's the difference between Duran and Chavez and Duran and even Canelo? Chavez and Canelo had Mexico, and that's all the roots of Mexico. You know, yeah, Mexico. Mexico roots for Chavez, Mexico roots for Duran. Yay, that's their country, that's rooted for them. You take Duran, who, if Duran in his prime was facing any Latino fighter, I don't care if it was your mother. You're facing Roberto Duran. Your mother be cheering for Duran to beat you. That's the difference between Duran and every other Latino fighter fighting today, and maybe until we find another one, which I don't think we ever will, is that Duran is that one guy that every Latino, no matter where you were from, rooted for Duran. Wasn't about if he was Mexican. Nobody cared if he was, he wasn't Mexican, he was Panamanian. But they all rooted for Duran. You know, yes, some people may, okay, some people other than Mexicans may root for Canelo, and some people, but how many of them are going to travel? When Duran fought in his prime, regardless of where you were from, in New York, when he came to Madison Square Garden, there were Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, everything, with a little bit of Panamanian, everybody was in that damn arena for Duran. Everybody. Now, you do it today, you know, Cotto has a big show in Madison Square Garden. Okay, you get a large, you may get a lot of Hispanics, but mostly Puerto Ricans. But that's mostly because, you know, because he's Puerto Rican, the Puerto Ricans going to come, because, you know, come to represent Cotto, because this is around the Puerto Rican Day, you know, Puerto Rican Day Parade. And that's great. But Duran would have everybody there. Every freaking body would be there for Duran. And that's why there'll never be another Duran. Duran, greatest of all time. And it also showed that there could be a brotherhood in boxing where it wasn't just about, oh, you just represent this. Which brings me back to Floyd Mayweather. Now, why has the black community turned on Floyd Mayweather? I don't know. Maybe, in my opinion, it's because Floyd Mayweather kind of crossed the line with the TBE thing. That's why I disliked Floyd, because I like Floyd as a fighter, but I don't think Floyd's the best ever. I'm sorry, because I think guys like Pernell Whitaker, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Aaron Pryor, just to name a few, would pretty much take Floyd in the back and give him an ass whooping. You know, take him to the woodshed, just whoop the shit out of Floyd. That's my opinion. Do I feel Floyd's the best fighter of this era? Yes, but I don't think a lot of today's fighters. I don't think a lot of the fighters of today's era. And I joined a lot of groups on Facebook, a lot of boxing groups on Facebook. And one of the guys said, hey, you guys are always putting over the old school guys. Yeah, we do, because the old school guys, they went 15 rounds. They didn't have all these pussy rules. I mean, I remember today's fighters, they get a little blood on them, and the referee's quick to stop it. I remember watching Bazooka Lamone get hit, fight Cornelius Boza Edwards. Lamone got hit, split, and they still went on until Lamone won the fight. They still fought on. He didn't sit there and, oh, I'm cut, and woe to his corner said, and the doctor said, no, he can't continue. There's no contest. No. Bazooka Lamone went out there, busted his corner, put a goddamn piece of cotton in there to slow the blood down between, and he fought. He fought. He won the fight. You know, he was the best. They had the best 2 out of 3. He won the fight. But those guys fought. Wasn't none of this, oh, I'm cut, and looking at the referee, looking at the corner to stop the fight. Wasn't none of that. They fought. You know, you cut, okay, oh shit, I got to fight with a cut. Sean O'Grady, one of the greatest fighters, a great young fighter. You know, Sean O'Grady would, you know, his skin was so sensitive, that motherfucker get cut on his way to the ring. You know, Sean O'Grady, fight with his cut all chopped the hell up, and would fight harder because, oh shit, the ref's going to stop this fight, let me turn it on. You know, and would fight harder because of the fact that, you know, I'm cut. Oh, they're going to stop this fight, so I got to fight harder. Those guys back then, they get cut, they fought harder. These guys today, they get cut, they look for a goddamn way out. And they do. Nonito Donaire, I was watching him fight one time. He got a little cut. Look for a way out. And that's what I don't like of today's fighters. They get a little cut. Oh, it was a headbutt. And they're looking for a way out to grab the little no contest, grab the money, and walk away. The fighters back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, some guy you get cut. Oh, shit, we got to fight harder now. You cut me. Okay. And I'm worried about they're going to stop this fight. Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, greatest 9 minutes ever. What did Hagler say? And the post-roll, Hagler said, when I started bleeding, I said, oh, shit, I better start fighting. I got to really go at this guy. They're going to steal my title. He wasn't thinking about, okay, maybe I'll get some, maybe it's, they'll think it's a headbutt or whatever, and I look for a way out. No, Marvin said, oh, no, I got to get rid of you now because you cut me. They're going, and the champions then, they felt that, especially guys like Hagler felt, they don't want me to be champion. They're looking for a way to take it from me. You're not taking my title. And he turned it on. Those fighters back then turned it on. Sugar Ray Leonard against Tommy Hearns, eyes swelling up to, oh, hell. Angelo Dundee saying, you're blowing it, son, you're blowing it. Sugar Ray Leonard turned it up, put Tommy away. He wasn't looking to just, even though if Sugar Ray Leonard loses to Tommy Hearns, it's a respectable loss. But Ray wasn't thinking about no respectable loss. Ray's like, it's winner, go home. And Ray turned it on, and Ray won that fight. Today's fighters, they'll do a Victor Ortiz. I'm too young to get beat up like that. That's why, to some of you newbies, there's a difference between the old school guys and today's fighters. Is the old school guys didn't look at, they didn't look at a lot of the loopholes and BS that today's fighters look for as ways to get out of fights. I've seen more fighters, they try to find a way out of a fight than they find a way into a fight. And that's kind of mellowed me, chilled me a lot of today's fighters. But now let's get back to the business of boxing. Now, a lot of people don't understand what's going on in boxing economically. And here's what happened. The business of boxing changed when Floyd Mayweather bought out his contract from Top Rank. And Floyd got hooked up with Al Heyman. Al Heyman was in the music business. He, knew some people. And he said, I'm going to guide you, and help you along the way. So Al Heyman and Floyd Mayweather put together a plan that would get Floyd, where Floyd wanted to be. The beef between Floyd and 50 Cent came because 50 and Floyd were supposed to put together a promotional company. And 50 made the mistake of saying, well, let's get rid of Al Heyman. And just get rid of Al Heyman. One thing about Mayweather's a loyal guy. He's loyal to the people that help him. And when 50 Cent talked about getting rid of Al Heyman, that was a death knell of that. Now, Floyd's sitting in jail. 50's like, telling his shit about let's get rid of Al Heyman. Floyd's like, no, that ain't happening. So Floyd wasn't doing a deal. Floyd's not, I ain't doing a deal. Fuck that. I ain't doing it. You on your own. I'm going to stick with Al Heyman. And it's shown to be the right move because Al Heyman made Golden Boy what it is. Let's be honest. Al Heyman is an advisor to a bunch of fighters. Not imagine an advisor to a bunch of these fighters. And Al Heyman's fighters do not have a set promoter. They have various promoters will promote their fighters' show. They're fighters. Al Heyman, work with Lou Developed Emotions. He'll work with the other ones. Before, the thing was Golden Boy was the exclusive promoter for Al Heyman's clients. And Al Heyman had some of the best fighters were his clients and are his clients. That made Golden Boy, that pushed Golden Boy right past Top Rank. Pushed him past him because they had this deep stable of some of the top young fighters. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Earl Spence. You had Floyd Mayweather was a crowning jewel. You had all these great fighters that were there and all these great matchups to be made. And Golden Boy reaped the benefits. Richard Schaefer, not so much Oscar. Richard Schaefer was the guy that was smart enough to say, yeah, we got to work with these guys. These guys are going to help us go to where we need to go. Richard Schaefer is the guy that helped bridge that gap because Floyd and Oscar don't like each other. More Oscar's fault than Floyd's. Because Oscar has some kind of jealousy deal with Floyd. Whatever it is, So anyways, while they're doing this, then all of a sudden 50 Cent comes out with this, oh, Floyd can't read bullshit. Really? And all of you people sit there and, like a bunch of hungry fish, bite on it, jump on it. You jump on it. Oh, Floyd can't read. Are you stupid? Floyd Mayweather's, just because he didn't graduate high school don't mean that motherfucker can't read. Floyd Mayweather is a very intelligent young man. He's been around people that are intelligent enough, that he's intelligent enough to know what the hell he's doing in the world of business, because Floyd knows that in this world of business, ain't nobody going to be loyal to you but you. And everybody's trying to take advantage of you. So Floyd Mayweather can read very well. Now, for 50 Cent to take that shot was because 50 Cent was upset because 50 had Bob Arum, HBO, and all these other people in his ear trying to devalue Floyd, because Floyd left HBO, and HBO was kind of ass hurt behind that one. That kind of totally fucked HBO. That, Showtime was not their competition. Showtime was considered, okay, you can't get that date on HBO. Showtime was considered a step up from ESPN, honestly. That's what Showtime boxing was. And then Showtime got serious. CBS Sports got serious. CBS said, wait a minute. Why is it that Time Warner's got all these great fighters? Why, if we got some boxing, why are we considered such a joke? We got just as much, if not more than Time Warner. Showtime boxing can be big, is just as big as HBO's. Why we got this little baby budget? So they made a deal. When they made the deal to bring Floyd Mayweather over, they knew what they were getting. They hired Steven Espinoza, was a lawyer for Golden Boy. When he left Golden Boy, he took over Showtime Sports. When he came over from Showtime Sports, because of him, his relationship with Golden Boy and his relationship with Richard Schaefer, and Richard Schaefer's relationship with Floyd Mayweather, that brought Golden Boy over to Showtime. Because they weren't getting treated right on HBO, so it's a shit. Now Showtime's like, no, we ain't gonna be little brother. We gonna compete now. And Showtime boxing became the equivalent, if not the better than HBO boxing. The first couple years, Showtime putting on cards that put HBO to shame. They whooping HBO's ass. Of course, then Richard Schaefer and all that Golden Boy, Oscar decided to come out of his 40th trip to rehab. Came up with one of his other drug binges, and Oscar took over his company, and Richard Schaefer left. Excuse me, there was a lot of speculation about what Richard Schaefer was going to do, and still what Richard Schaefer, I think Richard Schaefer's going to wind up with Al Heyman somewhere down the line, if he's not already. He'll be with Al, because him and Al have, formed a bond there, and Mayweather Promotions is now on the come up. Now, this is something we've got to look at. Golden Boy has two, maybe three. Golden Boy has one big client, that's Canelo. That's it. Now you got a bunch of youngsters. The problem is, what's happening now is when Al Heyman formed the PBC, and he has a deal with Showtime, now that Floyd is quote-unquote retired, which I hope he stays that way, but you never know, Mayweather Promotions, all those fighters that helped build Golden Boy and make Golden Boy this big power are now going to be under the Mayweather Promotions banner. Al Heyman and Floyd have that work relationship, so now they're going to fight under the Mayweather Promotions banner. Tonight was, a small example of Mayweather Promotion fighters to fight the card in D.C. with Berto Ortiz too, and you had Bio Jack and Lucian Butte and DeGale and Medina. This is the beginning of Mayweather Promotions working with Al Heyman. This is what Floyd knew. I've got a good relationship with Al. Al's a guy that's always thinking. I'm going to stay with Al because Al helped me get to where I'm at. So I'm not going to leave Al. What am I leaving Al for? And now look what Floyd's at. Floyd's promotion that everybody thought was that the media, boxing media, would like to say, oh, Mayweather Promotion is a joke. No, they're not. Because now Mayweather Promotion, because Floyd stayed loyal to Al Heyman, Floyd Mayweather gets to promote some of the best fighters in the world because they're all being advised by Al Heyman. Al Heyman needs a promotional company, so Floyd's going to get the bulk. Floyd's going to get, the bulk of that. I'm sure Lou DiBella will still get fights. I'm sure, Lou DiBella, he'll still work with Lou DiBella, but Floyd's going to get a lot of that. And Mayweather Promotions, because Floyd, going to come up off of this. They're going to be beneficiaries of this, and the That's going to be something good for Mayweather Promotions. Going to be good for boxing. Now, there's talk about the HBO budget being cut in half, and I'm saddened by that because I don't want to see boxing disappear from any network. I just don't like HBO's commentators. I don't like Max Kellerman. I don't like Jim Lampley. I feel they're too, they have their own agenda. And if their agenda is HBO's agenda and HBO's agenda is wrong. I don't like too much of what they do with the fighters that are there because it seems like the fighters, like Roy Jones, used to get fired from there every couple of months because Roy will say something to contradict what Roy will speak the truth, and Roy won't follow what Max and Jim Lampley's bullshit, and Roy will speak the truth, and then you don't hear, oh, Roy Jones gets removed from HBO for whatever. And I'm sure the HBO people, they're, Roy, you can't say that we're going to pull you up this broadcast, blah, 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 blah. You got to toe the company line. Roy's like, I ain't doing that bullshit. I don't got to do that bullshit. And Roy's at the point, Roy's like, fuck you. I ain't got to do bullshit. So now Roy's being Roy. Bernard Hopkins, and I hate this, but Bernard will toe the company line. He will tell you, he'll agree with bullshit that I'm sure Bernard in his heart doesn't agree with, but what the fuck? It's a job. He gets to be on HBO. It's a job, whatever. Plus the fact he's trying to keep his company Golden Boy in there in HBO's good graces. And HBO is at the point where they're back to trying to get boxing the way it used to be with the all Irish, the all Italians, the Jewish kids. So, but now replacing the Jewish kids is they want to get the folks from Kakistan, and they want to get the Russians, because all they have is Kovalev and Triple G. And you have this great fighter, the number one fighter pound for pound in the world, Andre Ward, and you just have him there because you don't want him to go to the other side, because that's the final death nail in your coffin, losing Andre Ward, which I think could happen, because here's the deal. Unless Andre Ward does something stupid, I hope to God he doesn't. Andre Ward has a 3-fight deal with HBO. He already fulfilled one fight beating Barrera. He has another fight coming up. I guess he's going to have a fight, and Kovalev's going to have a fight this summer. And then in November, Andre Ward is supposed to fight Sergey Kovalev. Now, the way I'm looking at it is Andre Ward's going to fight somebody worthy, and Andre Ward's going to win his fight. And then Kovalev's going to fight somebody, and Kovalev's going to win his fight. And Andre Ward's going to beat the shit out of Kovalev. It's not going to be a knockout. Andre Ward's going to just outbox, on typical Andre Ward fight. Andre Ward will, figure Kovalev out and then take over the fight. I say from round 4 to round 12, Andre Ward will win the last. Kovalev, the first 2 rounds will probably be even, and I look for Andre Ward to win the 10 rounds or 2. Okay. Now, after that fight there, Andre Ward is a free agent. Do not think that Showtime will not be bidding to bring Andre Ward back to Showtime. Because remember, during the Super 6 tournament that was on Showtime, at the time, Showtime, like this was little brother. Showtime's budget got a lot bigger since that time. And bringing Andre Ward back would just solidify Showtime's lineup. And now that's something that could happen. That's also something that, a lot of people, like Andre Ward's a loyal guy, so he's loyal to people that are with him. So he's not like Andre Ward's going to all of a sudden, get rid of his brain trust and go with Al Heyman. That's not going to happen, because Andre Ward he's got a pretty good brain trust there, and he's got people that are, in his, that have been with him from the beginning to end, so he's pretty good with there. But the idea of going back to Showtime and making more money for himself and getting a chance to fight Adonis Stevenson to become the undisputed lineal light heavyweight champion, and the fact of now I can make some, you get paid better, how many pays his people better, well, that might, intrigue Andre Ward. That might be something Andre Ward thinks about. Or maybe Andre Ward's happy at HBO and he says, okay, I'll sign HBO tries to muscle them into, well, yeah, we got the Kovalev fight signed, but we don't want to, we'd like you to sign a 3-4 fight extension, which is what HBO, I think, will probably do, work on. I would not be surprised between now and the time the Ward Kovalev fight takes place, that if both Ward and Kovalev sign an extension with HBO, because HBO needs to keep these guys. They really do. Because they have nothing. Now, another thing that I liked about tonight's card, which was, I might as well throw it in there tonight. Throw it in there now. Tonight we had a triple header, so to speak. Okay, Friday night we had the Dirrell brothers back, and they both won their respective fights in Atlantic City. Andre Dirrell one of the Dirrell brothers won a decision. One of the Dirrell brothers had scored a knockout. Okay, now Anthony Dirrell is the only one of the two brothers that's won a championship. Anthony Dirrell won the WBC title. When Anthony Dirrell won the WBC title, he then lost that to Bio Jack. And Andre Dirrell's had 2 cracks at the title. He fought Carl Froch during the Super 6 and lost that fight. And then he had a fight with James DeGale for the IBF title and lost that fight. So, but Andre Dirrell is quick to scream for another title shot. Well, Andre, you've had 2 bites of the apple, you've lost. Your brother, on the other hand, won a title. You know he lost it, but he still won one. So your brother has done a little better than you do. You did. Another guy on the Saturday part of the card was Victor Ortiz, Andre Berto 2, which I really didn't give a fuck about. I really didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't. But Andre Berto won. Yay. 5 years too late, Andre. And then we had James DeGale retain his title against, the mandatory. And we had Bio Jack get a draw against Lucian Bute to pretty much keep his title. And now there's supposed to be a unification between Bio Jack and James DeGale. Let's see what happens. Let's see does the WBC decide, oh, no, we need to have a rematch because it was a draw. We need to have a rematch of that fight. Let's see what happens. Hopefully, maybe they'll make a deal and, they'll go on with the unification and, Bute will get a fight, with the winner. Bute was a guy that, during the Super 6 tournament, Lucian Bute was the one guy who wasn't in the tournament. He was the IBF Super Middleweight champion when they had all the other WBA, WBC, WBO champions in the Super 6 tournament. Lucian Bute was the one champion that was not in the tournament because he didn't want to be in the tournament. Because Lucian Bute, look, when he won the title, he was lucky to he got a hometown gift to get the title. And then, while everybody was saying how great Lucian Bute was, it wasn't that he was that good. It was because his people wind up finding better ways to match him against guys who he was better than. Because every time Lucian Bute has stepped up and fought a top echelon fighter, he's lost. Which tells me a lot about Bio Jack. But, why I'm going to take the Gale to beat Bio Jack, and I'll explain that in a little while. Lucian Bute, then after the Super 6 tournament, crowned, Andre Ward was the king of the super middleweights. Right below Andre Ward, but head and shoulders above everybody else at 168, was Carl Froch. Carl Froch's people were given a 2-fight deal to fight Bute. 1 fight in England, 1 fight in Montreal. Carl Froch is like, yeah, because Bute's people figured they could beat Froch, and that would legitimize them for not being in the Super 6. Okay, what happens? Carl Froch went there, and Carl Froch beat the bricks off Lucian Bute, beat the hell out of Bute. And Lucian Bute took him a while to recover from that. Carl Froch beat his ass. Took his title, whooped his ass. And Carl Froch showed the world just how damn good he was, but not just how damn good he was, how much better Andre Ward was, because Andre Ward beat him. Now, in the Super 6 tournament, Carl Froch lost 2 fights in the Super 6 tournament. Should have been 3, but it was only 2. The first fight he lost to Mikkel Kessler was a decision that Kessler, the hometown guy, the hometown champion, when you fight the champion at home, Whenever you fight the champion at home, and you have to fight the champion anywhere, anytime there's a close round, usually they go to the champion. And he's at home and it's close, it goes even more to the champion because the crowd is backing everything the champion does. So when you're the challenger coming in, you got to do a hell of a lot of work. And I mean, you got to shut the crowd down and get a lot of times judges to give you those rounds. In the first fight between Froch and Kessler, Froch didn't quite do that. And it cost him. He lost a close decision to Kessler. Second fight, Froch did what he had to do. Of course, but Froch was at home, so Froch got the second, the fight. But Froch, Froch deserved it. I mean, Carl Froch Carl Froch deserved it. So, there was no dispute there about who the better man was. Carl Froch was the better man. That's just the bottom line. And I think they had a third fight, and Froch won that as well. So, bottom line is Carl Froch is better than proved that he was the second best super middleweight in the world. Then he, of course, his other, victories, and because Carl Froch during the Super 6 tournament did get the same kind of decision that he lost to Mikkel Kessler. He got one when he fought Andre Dirrell, because again, Dirrell won. I thought Dirrell should have won the fight. Had it been a neutral territory in the U.S., Dirrell wins that fight. But being it's in England and Froch is the champion, Dirrell didn't do enough to take the title from the champion. He lost that fight. Let's just go on from there. Super 6 proved this point. Lucian Bute went on after that. He lost to, he moved up to light heavyweight and fought, Johns Pascal. Lost to Pascal. Then I guess he moved back down to 168. And he put together a couple wins. He got with Al Heyman. He put together a couple wins. Earned himself a shot at the IBF super middleweight title, the belt he used to hold. He fought James DeGale, and DeGale beat him. And then because it was such a spirited effort against DeGale, they gave him a fight tonight with Bio Jack. And Bio Jack, got a draw with him. So that tells me that Bio Jack is not the elite, because anytime he's fought an elite guy, being a Lucian Bute, he's lost. So right now, right at this moment, if you ask me who wins between James DeGale and Bio Jack, I say James DeGale wins. That's at this moment. Could that change? Maybe. I don't know. Anywho, we as boxing fans need to not only know our history of our sport, we need to know all the BS and politics that are going on backstage in our sport. And we have to, folks, educate ourselves, because we're being lied to. We got the boxing press is pretty much been bought out between Time Warner and, other media outlets that are tied in together. I mean, we have such biased reporting. We have guys like Dan Rafael, whose blog I used to follow, but his lost all credibility with me because Dan Rafael is so Bob Arum Top Rank biased. And now Golden Boy, he's so anti everything that's not with Top Rank and Golden Boy, so I'm like, wow, he's putting these guys down, and he's always coming up with little nitpicky little snippets of, what's wrong with this guy and that guy, and yet these other guys he's putting over like God. And then when they get exposed, he has an excuse, because it's the same excuse that, Bob Arum's giving him. It's like the old, the biggest lie in boxing being told over the last couple of years is Manny Pacquiao had a bad shoulder against Floyd Mayweather. That's why he lost. Wrong. If the fight took place 5 years ago, Floyd would have won it. No matter when they fought, Floyd would win it. You know why? Because Manny Pacquiao is a good fighter. Floyd Mayweather is a great fighter. Manny Pacquiao doesn't know how to cut off the ring. There's a lot of things, boxing basics that Manny Pacquiao does not do well. And which is why I don't know why Freddie Roach is getting these Trainer of the Year awards, because I don't see Manny Pacquiao get any better from the Manny Pacquiao I've seen in the past, when he first got with Roach, to now. I'm afraid he's still the same guy, I think the only thing that's changed with Pacquiao, and it's not so much a Freddie Roach change, it's a Pacquiao change, is that he doesn't jump in as much, because after Marquez put him to sleep, he kind of said, whoa, He's not as careless as he used to be, but he still can't cut off the ring. And if you're a boxer that knows how to maneuver and maneuver, you beat Manny Pacquiao. A smart boxer will beat Manny Pacquiao every day, and that's all Floyd did. Floyd Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao by smart boxing. He didn't fight him, even though Floyd Sr. was saying, dude, Floyd Sr. wanted to see him engage, but Floyd was like, why should I? All I need is a basic 1-2 to beat this guy. Jab, right hand, jab, right hand, jab, right hand. Maybe a hook here and there. And I can move this guy where I want him, when I want him, and just pop him. And that's what Floyd did. The oneness to make that fight exciting, as people kept saying, was on Pacquiao. Pacquiao was supposed to be the guy that was going to rush in there and corner Floyd and make Floyd fight and make Floyd do. And that was what Bob Arum, that's what HBN tried to sell us. It wasn't going to happen because everybody knew the truth. The truth is, no matter when they fought, Floyd Mayweather is a prodigy, and he was going to beat Manny Pacquiao. The ring IQ of Floyd Mayweather trumps the ring IQ of Manny Pacquiao. Now, Teddy Atlas is one of the smartest ring IQ guys ever, but Tim Bradley doesn't have the athletic ability to pull off what Teddy Atlas wanted him to pull off. And thus, Tim Bradley's style is made to order for Manny Pacquiao, which is why Pacquiao won those fights, because Bradley, his style is made to order. Tim Bradley's not a jab, right hand, jab, hook. Tim Bradley's a warrior. Tim Bradley's just go ahead and bang in here. I'll do a little bit of boxing, but I'm not really a boxer. I want to engage. I want to rumble. I want to do this. And that's Manny Pacquiao's wheelhouse, where Manny gets to use all his athletic ability to pretty much outmaneuver and outfight Tim. And that's what he did. But you put Manny Pacquiao when it was somebody that can box, he's not going to do well. Because Manny Pacquiao cannot cut off the ring. He doesn't cut off the ring. Manny Pacquiao jumps in his shot. Manny Pacquiao's easily countered. His ring IQ is very low. And you put someone in there with someone like, I think at this point it's too early for him to fight him when that's Earl Spence. But you give Earl Spence 2 or 3 fights. Excuse me. And if Manny Pacquiao's still stumbling around talking about, I want to fight, if Bob Arum would make that fight, Spence murks him. Spence destroys him. But Bob Arum will never make that fight because Bob Arum figures that he's going to serve Manny Pacquiao up to Terrence Crawford. So that's the plan. The plan is for Terrence Crawford to beat Victor Postol, and then for Terrence Crawford to make his move up to 140 to 147 pounds. If the kid that has the WBO title now can hold Vargas, I think his name is Jesse Vargas. Yeah, Jesse Vargas can hold on to that belt. Then the plan is for Jesse Vargas to be sacrificed to be fed to Terrence Crawford, and Terrence Crawford for Manny Pacquiao to be fed to Terrence Crawford. And how the hell does Manny Pacquiao become the lineal welterweight champion of the world is beyond me. You lost to Mayweather. You hold no titles. The WBO, none of the titles was at stake. How the hell does, this is, and that's the other thing I can't understand, how they just decide who's lineal. I'm sorry, the lineal title is the title, that goes back to Mayweather. And Manny Pacquiao, you lost to Mayweather. Handily, hands down, you lost 10 rounds to 2. I think I had it 9-3, but, I could have had it 10-2. I know you lost. It wasn't even fucking close. So, but now all of a sudden you beat Tim Bradley and you're the lineal welterweight champion? That should tell you people something about the way the business of boxing works and how much how much being lineal must mean, because they've decided that forget Keith Thurman, forget Danny Garcia, forget Kell Brooks. We're just going to hand a lineal. We're going to have the winner of Manny Pacquiao versus Tim Bradley fight for the lineal welterweight championship. Excuse me? How did that happen? None of you are champions, but yet you're going to fight for lineal welterweight championship. I don't think any of you are ranked high enough, because let's look at if you do a true pound for pound, if you do a true divisional ranking in the welterweight division, if you want to throw Manny Pacquiao number 1, fine, but wouldn't Keith Thurman be number 2? I would think Keith Thurman would be number 2. I would think Danny Garcia would be number 3. I mean, even if OK says it's not, maybe it's Kell Brook at number 2, Keith Thurman at 3, Danny Garcia at 4, Tim Bradley's number 5 at best, and that's a battle between Tim Bradley and Shawn Porter for number 5. You still can't, in my eye, justify saying that the winner of Manny Pacquiao versus Tim Bradley is the lineal welterweight champion. You can't, because you've jumped over Brooks, Thurman, Garcia, and you're saying that if Manny Pacquiao's number 1, you can excuse 2, 3, 4, and go to 5. And 1 and 5 fight, and 1 and 5 is for the lineal? No. I'm not buying that. Now, of course, Oscar De La Hoya, and since Oscar's back in the good grace of Top Rank in HBO, they're going to say, well, yeah, we'll justify, because if 1 can't get a fight with 2, 3, or 4, and he fights 5, we'll justify. Well, that's bullshit, because if Manny Pacquiao went to Keith Thurman or Kell Brooks, who's been looking for a fight, and said, hey, I'd like to fight you, you don't think Eddie Hearns and Kell Brooks would say, let's do it? You don't think Keith Thurman would say, yo, Sean, you got to wait. Al Haymon would be, Sean, you got to wait. You don't think, or if Sean not wait, Danny Garcia says, yeah, Al Haymon, those fights can be made. But Bob Arum is not going to make fights with 2, 3, and 4, because he knows 2, 3, and 4 whoop Manny's ass. But I can beat Tim Bradley. I've done it twice before. So yeah. And HBO's like, yeah. And we're going to, yeah. So we can say we have the lineal welterweight champion. Then you retire, quote unquote, which we don't know if that's true or not. Here's what I think happened. I think Manny Pacquiao does a little retirement gig. He goes, once he doesn't win the congressional seat. If he doesn't win a congressional seat, Manny Pacquiao comes back. By this time, Terrence Crawford should be entrenched as the WBO welterweight title. The WBO seems to be now, those seem to be Arum's, that's Arum's company. So once Terrence Crawford is entrenched as the WBO champion, Terrence Crawford will fight Manny Pacquiao for the quote-unquote lineal welterweight championship. Even though Manny Pacquiao quote-unquote retired, which should mean the lineal title is now vacant, which would mean, honestly then, if you're going by their standards, if Manny Pacquiao's retired, then Keith Thurman versus Shawn Porter could be for the lineal welterweight championship. But of course, we'll be told, no, that can't happen. But hold on a minute. You just did what Manny Pacquiao versus Tim Bradley. And you told us the winner there was lineal. Well, no, different set of circumstances. Well, hold on. Manny retired. Well, he came back. So does that mean if Floyd comes back, Floyd's lineal again? Well, no. He retired. He's been gone. It's always something when with these people that follow boxing. It's up to us, the fans, to use our head, our common sense to say, wait a minute, that's not right. It's up to us to tell these people about the crap they pull. So that's all for this time. This is David Wilkerson signing out for Old School Boxing Talk. I'm sorry I went on a bit of a rant, but I hope you learned something. I'm going to try to keep these things down because this thing's saying I'm almost at 50 minutes, at almost an hour. In the future, I'm going to try to keep these things shorter. I'm not going to promise, because when I get on a boxing, when I start talking boxing, I can go all day because I love this sport. This sport is my passion, and I hate to see corporate America and these other forces destroyed, which is why I kind of really like what the UFC, even though people bitch about destruction of the UFC, I do like what they've done, because at least they don't have these 20 champions. They don't have all this political bullshit. So maybe I thought that's what Al Haymon was trying to do, is create something like a UFC type of deal with his fighters. What maybe he is. Maybe we just haven't gotten there yet. But whatever, I just want to see something in the best interest of boxing. I want to see fights being made. I'm tired of guys like Bob Arum and companies like HBO trying to tell us who's good. Don't tell me who's good. Let me sit there and let me watch these guys, and then I will tell you who I like. Don't tell me who I'm supposed to like. Let me see them fight, and I will tell you who I like. I have nothing against Triple G. I have nothing against Kovalev. I like both of them. I think the winner of Kovalev, Andre Ward, should be pound for pound the #1 fighter in the world. Should be, in my opinion, the winner of Kovalev Ward should be pound for pound #1 fighter. I think Andre Ward's there now, but since we have to go through all the politics, I would hope that the winner of Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev, becomes #1 pound for pound. But we shall see. So, till later, this is Dover Wilkerson signing out, saying goodbye. We'll talk to you next week.